What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to be previewing round 11. It's Port Adelaide versus Fremantle at Optus Stadium. It's a big game, this one. Port Adelaide coming into this with a 3-game losing streak. The Dockers have held their own in the past month as well. They've beaten the Giants. They came close to beating the Pies and obviously had a big defeat to St Kilda. So it's been an interesting an amazement of events for these two clubs coming into this one, and form never really dictates how these sorts of games pan out, but Port Adelaide's perspective, and that's what we're here for, isn't looking too good. Injuries galore at the moment. Asava Radaglia has been ruled out with a hamstring. Horn Francis has been ruled out with a hamstring. Lockie Jones ruled out with a hamstring. And Josh Sin also has a hip injury. It's just diabolical at the moment, our injury curse that's had to happen this year. And look, I just want to come out here and straight away say that Koshi coming out and stating that this is this sort of form is dictated by injuries. It plays its part, yes. It does have an effect on players and does have an effect on how a game can be and in the moment. Does it affect the result that eventuates like last week against the Cats? No. There is still 20-odd players on the field that can dictate how the attitude is towards a game, and that isn't how injuries work in that perspective. So it's a tough situation that we're in, Port Adelaide fans. I'm not going to sugarcoat this at all. It is a dire strait. We're going to Perth, which is arguably one of the toughest trips in football. We do have a good record against the Dockers. The last 4 games, I believe, we've beaten them. But as we've known this year with streaks, they end up coming to an end anyway. Marvel streak, Essendon streak, St Kilda streak. These games are dictated by form. And at this current point, you go into this one, you say, well, this is a game where you sit here and you're like, far out. We've got Freo who have just beaten the Giants at NG Stadium. We've come off a 70-point drubbing against the Cats at home. And if there's one thing that I can take into this game that is a positive, is that we somehow go against the grain. And I think with this type of game, I strongly put us in a better stronghold than maybe thought. But, it's not looking good, is it? I saw someone comment today about injuries and selections, and they were like, oh, who really cares? And I sit here and I go, the attitude of us to sit here and say who really cares as fans is our own perspective, our own point of view. But if the players have that perspective in a year that's been claimed as the gap year at Port Adelaide, then I am, as a member, am wasting my money. It's as simple as that. I want to make the most of what we have in this very moment. This is it's a shit year. I'm going to put it out there, right? I've hated this year, the narrative of this year, ever since the announcement of the succession plan. It's been terrible. It's been poorly run, poorly executed, and the results are showing for it. There is no accountability with this club. You've got players like Butters and Bergman who are pretty much coming out of their contract deals. They're going to be sitting there going, right, well, Butters, what's the point of waiting around to the end of 2026? Bergman, well, I'm leaving now. There's no point committing. They have opportunities to stay. There's contract offers there for them. But how can you possibly consider the circumstance of being 4-6, getting drubbed every third week, and you think you're going to be able to compete with the competition that you come up with, especially against the Freo Dockers, who I think have more of a killer instinct than we do. So, yeah, there's a lot to compact and decompact with Port Adelaide. Our form at Optus Stadium hasn't been great. Obviously we won the last game of the season last year there against the Dockers in a pretty good fashion. This game in itself is going to come down to ball movement and territory, because the way I look at it with Port Adelaide is, Houston's obviously gone from this year's structure with being traded last year. Kane Farrell's out 4 to 6 weeks with his knee injury. Josh Sin's now out with an injury. Lockie Jones. The movement from Port Adelaide players is going to come from Ryan Burton, Logan Evans. These types of players who aren't as reliant with the footy as a Kane Farrell or Dan Houston at the time. Connor Rosie's going to be depended on a lot more with that ball movement and those flybys and that carrying of the footy. it's important, and especially on an Optus Stadium ground that may be wet on Saturday night, it's still important to make sure that we are moving the ball freely. And look, against the Dockers, if you can move the ball freely, can you put the pressure on their defence one-on-one? We've seen it, especially against the Pies. They got a lot out the back of the goals, Collingwood, and Freo might have won the territory by inside 50 count, but making them pay on the scoreboard and really dictating what happens on the scoreboard is crucial in this game. So if Port Adelaide are going to win this game, they're going to have to win it like Collingwood. They're going to have to travel there. They're going to have to play undermanned. They're going to have to play on instinct and make sure they make the most of the opportunities that they get. Because if they you 1, 2, 3 goals up, that's the switch in Port Adelaide's mind, and the attitude is, the mindset is, we're 2, 3 goals down. Can we really do it? No. There's only once we've seen us do it, and that's, obviously St Kilda, we came back, but still lost by 3 goals. The showdown is the most important one. We came back from 3 goals down. Could have been a blowout, but in the end, fought back into almost winning that game. So the belief can be there. It's whether or not these players choose to. And with the crisis meetings that we've had as coaches this week and just the continuous bad news plus publicity cycle that we've had, this game could end up being anything. So selection this week is going to be pretty important. Obviously, there's a lot of opportunities for players to come in, and I've heard from Sue things around the grapevine that Hugh Jackson has been playing in the ones at training. Sava Radigalia obviously being out is going to mean that Brandon Zerktouch is going to be coming in. He's been training with the ones. You'd think Travis Boak would probably come in. Heard he trained with the twos at training, but he most likely will come in. It was 18 v 18 at training. So I think Boakey comes in as well. And yeah, there's a roulette on the table of who can be selected this week. And it's going to be an interesting choice, that's for sure, because I have no doubt in my mind that whatever we do at selection will be critical, but also criticised with that. So definitely Brandon Zerktoucher comes in, definitely Boak. I think Jackson should get a go. I know people have been saying Ollie Lord, but you've got to, in these situations, give the guy time. You can't keep chopping and changing. I don't understand the mindset of, Ollie Lord hasn't performed for the last couple of weeks, he should be out. Neither is the whole team. You want to keep a player like this. You're not going to wait for the development of Jack Whitlock. You're going to have Ollie Lord perform. He's going to get there. He's going to have off weeks. Big key forwards don't have 4 or 5 to their name every week. He's still young. He's still developing. It's difficult in this situation when everything seems flat and shit and not going to the 100% standard that we all expect as fans. It's difficult to navigate, especially with a forward line that's dysfunctional. And it's been called dysfunctional because of the bad form. But when it works, and everyone praises it, and everyone hated the forward line structure with Dixon. We can't simply win. I think if you're going to make Lord stand out, Georgiades and Finlayson are going to work better together. When Jack Lukosius comes back in, that's going to work better. It's Ollie Lord versus Jeremy Finlayson, or it's, Lukosius versus Finlayson, and it will all be ending up a big roundabout of players who can possibly play as a tall forward. But that's a minor issue compared to the rest that's going on at that football club at the moment. And if there's ever a game that there's one to stand up before the bye and somehow win, this one against the Dockers seems like a doable one, and one that I fully expect a response. I definitely respect the Freo Dockers, especially away from home. It's a tough trip. It's one that can galvanise a season. It's one that can galvanise a playing group. Don't focus on what's to come in the next 12 weeks. Focus on 1 week. And this is the week you get the job done. You get a break next week. Play out of your skin and get a win. Imagine the scenes for a win. Everyone will just feel better. But regardless of who you are, everyone will feel a bit better. Well, Port fans, leave a comment below about your thoughts with this week's game. Obviously, the preview has been sort of a bit of a rant because I've got a new job and I'll be announcing that properly and everything like that in due course. But I've wanted to come on here and really present emotion in this preview and not talk about who we're playing. It's more about us and what we can control. And they're going to have Tracy, Bolton, Sarong, Brayshaw, Luke Ryan down back. They're going to have their players. Freo are going to have their attack. They're going to have the fans. They're going to have Optus Stadium. They have everything in their favour when it comes to this game. I hope we get a game where they're off like against Freo, but I don't think we will. I think we'll get a close game, a good game, and if it's wet, I give us half a chance. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts, Port fans and Freo fans, if you're watching. I was on Freo Faithful as well. So go check out the YouTube channel for Freo content. They did amazing, hosted by Druzy and UCAT, as you know, as AFL YouTubers as well. So go give them some love. The Glass Table latest episode is out with Jared and I, so check that out. Subscribe for plenty more Port Adelaide content and AFL content to come your way. Thank you again for watching. My name's Anthony, and as always, come the pair.